Hey guys, it's YOU WACK. Welcome back to the second episode of only 10 things original Overwatch players would remember. Now, I did do like an episode 1 or like a part 1, whatever you call it, about a week ago where I just listed some things that only the few true blue Overwatch players would remember, and some stuff that not a lot of people remember happened like about a year ago that I just want to look back on and just kind of get like this nostalgia trip or whatever. But today we're going to be doing the same exact thing. However, I did take some of your comments and consider some of the things that you guys only remember, because again, this is supposed to be like a nostalgic trip, but this won't be stuff just from the beta, because again, only a few things did change in the beta that only the few true and blue Overwatch players, the OG Overwatch players, would remember. You know, some stuff happened like after the release, some things happened only about a year ago, and I just wanted to talk about it. So just remember that some of these things did kind of happen recently, like not like, okay, Hanzo scatter era, only the few OG, no, like, okay, that's too soon. What I'm talking about is like a year ago. So let's get into it. There's a lot of like cool things that you don't really realize was even changed in Overwatch until I even mention it. And also, just a reminder, this isn't like a ranking system. Just because I put it at number 10 doesn't mean it's less OG than what it is at number 1. So let's get started. So starting off our list at number 10 is probably the most OG thing to competitive Overwatch, and that is the original competitive ranking system. So as you guys know, in Season 1 going into Season 2, the ranking system changed to what we know it as today: Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, Diamond, Masters, GM, and Top 500 if you want to count that as a rank. Well, beforehand, we didn't have the Diamonds, we didn't have the Master ranking system. Pretty much what it was a 1 through 100 ranking system. And pretty much how it worked was that you played your 10 placements, that's always been the same, but you placed somewhere in like that 100 range, and then you just got placed or whatnot. However, it wasn't like, okay, you got Gold or you got Diamond. No, pretty much you got 22, or you got 55, or you got 33, whatever it could be, and you'd be in that 1 through 10 range. And that's also how the tiers worked too, is be like 1 through 10, and then you got a new rank. 11 through 20, you got a new rank. 21, 30, you get so on and so forth. And how you gain the SR or lose SR, as most of us can relate to, isn't how you think it would be working either, because you think every like win or loss would be by 1 point because it's based on like a 1-point system. No, not necessarily, because it'd be based on your own personal skill in that game, and also just be determined by the game how it overall went. If you stomp the enemy team, I think you gain more SR. So really, it was just all over the place. It just wasn't a good system, and then obviously it changed in Season 2. So you can kind of see why they just kind of revamped competitive to what we know as today. But I mean, now we're kind of crying for a new revamping, just because, I don't know, I just think something needs to change now after going into 10 new seasons. But now another thing that only OG Overwatch players would remember, and I'm talking about some OG Overwatch players, is the fact that there were no limits in regular quick play and competitive in Season 1. So we all know that in quick play, you're only allowed to play one certain hero. You can't play a bunch of Widowmakers or Winstons in regular quick play. That's what the playlist of No Limits is for. However, before, I want to say before Season 3, that all changed to what we know as quick play today. However, back in Season 1, competitive, you were also able to do the same thing. So you were able to run like 2 Tracers, 2 Genjis, which is what some people did. Just pretty much run anything. You can see how that's not good in competitive. More or less in quick play, that's like who really cares? People throw in there anyway. But competitive, well, I guess people throw in there anyways too. But you can see the problems that it caused. So, like I said, Season 1, big ol' mess. Then they changed it in Season 2, and it just kind of got a whole lot better. But now, at the 9th spot is something that I feel like a lot of people honestly will remember just because it was so talked about. But how many people honestly did play at this time? A lot, probably. But at number 8, it's going to be Mercy's Fat Res ultimate ability. The ultimate ability that made so many competitive players hate her, that made Siegel himself, the god himself, hate Mercy also. This thing was... I don't want to say bad, because, I mean, it had its purpose, but it was just kind of like a broken ultimate ability just because it would negate skill. That's what I said in my videos before talking about the Mercy changes, was the fact that the reason why they're getting rid of the Fat Res is bringing 5 people back to life is because you would tell your Mercy, go hide in the corner, you bit a bad girl, when we died, then you can come play with us. So, and by play with us, I really mean, okay, res us so that we can actually play, and then go back in your corner. You can can see why it just was broken, because it wasn't fun for Mercy. It really wasn't fun for the enemy team, but it was fun for everyone else that was getting res by the Mercy. So yeah, the fat res ability got changed into regular ability, but then that got changed into even a nerfed ability, a more nerfed ability, and it's what we know today. And recently just got changed to where she got her old voice line, heroes never die. But now, oh man, at number 7 is literally a broken ability. People can argue about Mercy's ultimate. This was literally a broken thing in Overwatch. Ladies and gentlemen, at number 7, it is going to be Roadhog's hook 1.0. Remember the OG hook. Remember the hook that would go around corners, bring you to you, even though you broke line of sight. God, I hated this as Zenyatta, bro. So pretty much if you don't remember how this worked, is, well, now how it works is that, okay, if you get hooked as, say, like McCree, but you were combat rolling, like, on the opposite side of the wall, the hook would break. Yeah, back at Roadhog Hook 1.0, the hook wouldn't break. You would still get taken to Roadhog no matter where you were. Even if you were on the opposite side of the map, you would still get hooked and killed with the Roadhog's hook. But then here comes Hook 2.0, and even that was somewhat broken, and then Hook 3.0 came along, and I think it finally got fixed. And now with that, we're done with the hero changes, because I feel like hero changes is something that a lot of people remember, but they like don't appreciate, or they just straight up don't remember, you know, because it happened so long ago. But now at number 6, we're going back to the OG competitive system, which is competitive points. So as you guys know, well, gold guns cost about 3,000 competitive points, and that's the only thing you can buy competitive points for. And every single time that you get a win, you would get 10 points. Every single time that you get a tie, I think it's 3 points. I don't get a lot of ties because I get a lot of losses, so I don't really know. I want to say it's like 3 competitive points, and every loss you don't get anything. Well, the original competitive points system allowed you to buy gold guns for 300 competitive points. And you might be thinking, oh my god, you just gotta get like a few wins and you get a gold gun. Yeah, except every single win only counted for 1 competitive point. And there was like a different competitive point ranking system. I don't have it pulled up right now. I'll try to like just put a picture on the screen. But I remember you had to be like 65 plus to even get 300 competitive points. So really, it's not as like fast as you think, because it was just pretty much times 10. But they changed it so that you would actually get competitive points for every single tie that you get. But now at the number 5 spot is something that a lot of people won't consider to be like an OG thing, only OG Overwatch players would remember, but I'm counting it anyway just because it's fun. At number 5 is the original voice actor for Doomfist. So we all know Doomfist for what he sounds like today, like ooh, that sounds awful, but that's not what he sounded like originally. Most OG Overwatch players would remember that Terry Crews was actually the original voice actor for Doomfist, and this is actually true. Okay, people are gonna assume like, oh, it was only like speculations, it was only like hinted, but it's not true. Listen, he voiced lines by Doomfist that makes him technically the original voice actor for Doomfist, because he said the first lines for Doomfist, but he didn't get the job. That's why I hate Doomfist, okay? That's honestly why. And because he grunts every single time. You don't need to grunt, bruh.
I'm Doomfist. Get ready to hurt.
But now taking the 4th spot is something that a lot of people actually left comments on in my last video that I thought I should mention in this video, but it's actually going to be the old Overwatch Portraits. So as you guys know, in the Overwatch world that we know of today, we have 4 different portraits: bronze, silver, gold, and like that shiny platinum gold. It's the border that most streamers have, okay? Well, beforehand, it was like this tiny little change, but the numbers were actually black and the colors were like this like a duller color. It was really gross and it didn't look all that pretty. But even before then, this was like, I think, in the beta days, and I think there was even actually another like portrait change before then. I'll have to throw pictures on the screen, but in the beta days there was 2 different portraits, or at least that I could find. One was like this shiny pretty blue color. It was really neon light, and it still had like the background wings that we see in like today's portraits. But even before then, there was portraits that actually showed the little icon of what the hero's respectful role was: DPS, defense, which rest in peace defense, tank, and healer. So really not that big of a change, but something that you just look back and it's like, wow, yeah, Overwatch changes a lot, even the little tiny things. Now, the 3rd thing only OG Overwatch players would remember, and I have to be careful with this. You'd be surprised what YouTube Cheddar does, but it's actually going to be the Portapotty newspaper controversy. So remember, well, I don't want to spoil number 1 because, well, 1, I got freaking demonetized by it. But what the Portapotty controversy was on Route 66. We all know of like the Portapotty like on the 2nd point, right? Well, in the Portapotty, there was like newspapers or newspaper clippings or papers of Symmetra and Mercy, but if you're not older, you don't get it. And if you don't get it, I don't want to explain it to you because you have a pure mind. I want to keep it pure. But if you're older, you know what I'm getting at here, all right? So people got mad about it. People thought like, oh, this is totally disgusting, degrading to women. And it's rightfully true. Why are there newspaper clippings of Symmetra and Mercy in the frickin' Portapotty? It doesn't. It's funny, I'm not gonna lie, but it's also disrespectful to them too. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. Again, Overwatch or the Blizzard team doesn't want to like get into it with that kind of controversy, so they're just gonna kind of clean it up, and that's exactly what they did. They got rid of the newspaper clippings, but they kept the Portapotty. Thank God. Now, the second thing that literally only OG Overwatch players would remember, and some people might call this a cop-out, but it's not. I want to talk about it. It's going to be that there was no competitive. So, as you guys know, competitive is a big staple in Overwatch, and it's also one of the biggest memes of Overwatch because, you know, it's funny. I was actually like going to the store or whatnot, and I met someone that also knows a little bit about Overwatch, but they refuse to play it because they're scared that they'll get yelled at or whatnot because they hear about like the stuff of like competitive. You don't ever get yelled at in quick play. Unless you're running Hanzo and I yell at you. But competitive wasn't around at the beginning of Overwatch. It took actually a couple of months or just a couple of weeks for it to actually release. I mean, that was like their initial plan was to release this competitive FPS, but Overwatch just had quick play, had the arcade. It didn't even have the arcade. What am I saying? It just had quick play, it just had training, and that was really it in some weekly brawls. No competitive. Can you believe that? Overwatch wasn't toxic, wasn't salty at one point. But now, ladies and gentlemen, the final thing that only original Overwatch players would remember, it is probably one of the most popular OG things that Overwatch players know. That is Bastion's shield. This was one thing I constantly kept seeing on my last video, and the reason why I didn't include it on my like first original video is I feel like it's one of those things that, of course, like it was in the beta, but it's like it's seen in so many thumbnails. It seems like a clickbaity thing, but it actually happened. So if you guys don't remember, yes, Bastion did originally have a shield in the beta, like in the first closed off beta, and it was 1,000 shield, and every single time he went into turret form, he would just, well, have like a Rhine shield right in front of him. Y'all think the Protect the President meta was OP? He was just an OP hero, just in general. You could see why they took it away from him when the game actually launched just to the public. And that, my friends, are just 10 more things that only original Overwatch players would remember. And some things some players actually did play with. Some probably even play with the Bastion shield. But some I just wanted to talk about, just go on a nostalgia trip because, again, you really don't realize how much this game has evolved. And that's really good for a video game just constantly getting updated because it shows that Blizzard cares. People love to just knock on Blizzard, say they don't care about Overwatch, but look at how much has changed in 2 years, and I can't wait for year 3. So I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch videos to come, and bye.